because everyone talks about the judging and all that. I always wonder how that could actually be like, again, like reliably fixed to where it's not, we're not just like guessing, or we're not, you know, like, and it seems like super hard. But I think that the problem isn't with the criteria as much as it is with the actual rules. Like I almost feel like say you work real hard, you get a takedown, and there's 3 minutes left on the clock. And then there's just so much ambiguity as to like how much is enough damage. That like there's so much ambiguity happening that, unfortunately, because it'll mess up some other things, I almost feel like you have to add in rules where like, okay, so I get stood up if I can make it so that this guy can't punch me for 30 seconds or whatever amount of time it is or something. But I almost feel like those types of problems only will get solved by rules. They won't get solved by this like ambiguity where like the ref can kind of make whatever decision, and each ref is different and each crowd is different and they're just making a bunch of decisions. So I think that someone, not me, should sit down and really think about, you know, making it really clear and really straightforward about like the rules so that that kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I think in that sense that it is too subjective. It's too subjective, and too many referees have different ideas of what's acceptable. And also, you can see referees reacting to the crowd. You've seen, we all see that. I think that's ridiculous. That should never
Judges
take place.
too.
Yes, for sure. There's a lot of bad judging. Jesus Christ, some of these decisions lately where, you know, they like, who gave Marlon the fight?
I don't know.
Somebody gave Marlon the fight.
Yeah,
okay,
I know.
That's fucking insane. I want you to imagine if there's 3 people who gave Marlon that fight.
I know. What if one other dude fucked up that night? Because that guy obviously fucked up. But imagine if it was someone else and I like went home a loser, like scratching my head, like
insane.
Yeah, that's
one
pretty
of
scary.
The best performances of your career in a fight where everybody who watched thought you won. Everybody. Like the idea of giving that to Marlon, and I'm a Marlon fan. He didn't win that fight. You won that fight. It's clear. So whoever the fuck that judge is, you're not doing that anymore. Like you can ruin careers. You could take away win bonuses. You know. Yeah,
they need a universal. They need a universal commission.
Yes.
Like I really think that should, because I almost wonder like why the UFC hasn't done it yet. Because if I was the UFC, it would be in my best interest to make sure that everyone's on the same page so that someone doesn't like mess something up, like, because that fight very well, if one other person got it wrong, just one other person, I could have lost, and then like that would have changed a lot of stuff, man, because it just would have, you know, like people care about wins and losses. I almost feel like they're, you know, someone should look into making a universal commission so that the rules are laid out clear. We have 10 judges that we use at this time. The judges are completely 100% on the same page about what's winning, what's not winning. That way all of the fighters know that, because right now it's just commissions from different states just deciding on whatever rules they want to do. And I really think that like step 1 is universal commission.
I think there's another step that needs to be taken, and that's an abandonment of the 10-point must system. I think that system is not our system. That system is a system that's applicable to boxing, and it works great with boxing. You're dealing with 2 weapons. You have just punches. You have a bunch of different ways to apply those punches, but you have a left hand and a right hand. That's it. There's so many more things going on in MMA. It's exponential. There's takedowns, there's submissions, there's ground control, there's being able to dictate the pace. There's so much that happens in MMA that doesn't happen in boxing, because of all the different skill sets and the different weapons and how they get applied and what's more valuable than the other thing. I think it should be a very comprehensive system, and I think there should be way more than 3 judges. I think there's a real good argument to have like something like 10 judges and have, because like an experts, I mean guys like, I mean if you can get, I don't know, Faraz Zahabi would do it, but like that level of expert. You know, the guys like Saif Saud, these fucking world-class coaches and trainers, have guys like that judge fights. Yeah. You'll get a real solid understanding. And if you have 10 of those, 99.9% of the time you're going to get the right winner. But if you have 3, and no disrespect, but some of these people just shouldn't be judging. If someone judged Marlon winning over you. They should not be judging an MMA fight because they're not paying attention, maybe they're on drugs, but they definitely didn't see what I saw, so it doesn't make any sense to me.
Sure.
Even with the 10-point must system, which is a fucked up system. But if we had a system that tallied like all the different takedown attempts, all of the different strikes, and it was a point system. So instead of like 10-9, you're dealing with like 162 versus 120. The next round like 195 versus 170. And you look at it in that way, where you could tally it up at the end.
Sure.
And look at it. I also think there's something that Pride had that we really should take into consideration, that you judge the fight as a whole, and that the last parts of the fight are probably the most important parts. Like when you saw Volkanovski on top of Islam at the end of the fight, pounding on him, that is fucking gigantic.
That matters.
That matters, because if this is a schoolyard, the schoolyard analogy, the teachers come and break it up and you're on top, you fucking won.
Yeah.
No one's going to say, Islam won that fight, we got him. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, the teachers stopped the fight with Volkanovski on top of you, punching you in the face.
Yeah.
He won that fight.
That's a great point.
Everybody who saw that at the end was like, Volk got him.
Yeah, that's a great point. I even look back to Gaethje and Fiziv's fight. Like, mega close fight, but the judges got it right. But Gaethje at the end was definitely going to be the guy that, if that went another 10 minutes, Gaethje was winning that fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting. That's actually, that's actually a really good idea, I think. Yeah, like why not make takedowns points?
Yes.
Like how they do in wrestling.
Right.
And then why not make it almost the same as collegiate wrestling, where if you get up, that's a point too.
Right.
So
Calf kicks are a point. This is a point, and all of it gets tallied up. And so it's significant. You know, there's that thing, significant strikes, which is kind of interesting. But sometimes significant strikes are body punches when you're on the ground, which we both know are not as significant as like a front kick to the gut when you're standing up. It's got more power to it. So what is significant strikes? Maybe significant kicks versus significant punches. Maybe some kicks are worth more, like a head kick is worth more. You know, a calf kick, when you see damage, when you see someone limp, that's worth more. Like, how many points is that worth?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I almost feel like it's probably the same process same thought process that Taekwondo went through when they were like creating the rules for their sport too, right? Like, I could see how potentially there would be maybe some issues with like, you know, like people just touching, you know?
Yeah.
But even then, like, I mean, you can't ever really tell how hard someone's hitting ever.